Hi, my name is Cami Cooper. I've been sleeping in my swimsuit. I've been sleeping in my swimsuit. For superstitious reasons, I haven't taken it off for a week. Because of this thing tomorrow swimming for the coach. I mean, one day he's gonna come watch me at a meet, and then the next day he wants me to come swim my best while he's filming me under the water, like invading all that space. And I've only seen his face once on this website, like this weird, confusing blue website. And this is the only place I'm getting recruited for, because a year and a half ago I had this thing where I couldn't swim for like 3 months, so all the other schools dropped me, and I have a rash, like a really bad rash. I mean, I think I haven't seen it yet. I'm not telling you any of this to make you feel bad for me. I'm just saying that I'm not all physically fit and smiling. And my mom's out of town, and she's dating this guy who's a car salesman with a kid, who I hate. And my best friend, who might be my ex-best friend, isn't talking to me and isn't coming to practice. So I told you. Do you feel special? The only competition you have to worry about is Janice Vickery. I heard she caught it over on Princess Bay Boulevard and that it was still alive when she took the skin off of it. I heard when she put it in the pot, it screamed for 3 minutes because the water wasn't even boiling yet. I mean, how hard is it really to just boil the skin off a cat and then stick its bones back together? That's what I want to know. And you spent months working on your atomic flowers. And then she's probably gonna end up as one of the top 5 prize winners. Woohoo! You know, if anyone ever tried to stick you in a pot of boiling water, I'd kill them. Do you know that? Hi, I'm Cami Cooper. I grew up in Canyon Lake, Texas. I was born in Ojai, California. So I went from a very, very Democratic state to a very Republican state at a very young age. So that was fun. Yeah, like I said, Cami Cooper. Go to school in Nebraska, which is very, very cold. Very, very different from California and Texas. Yeah, I started doing theater at the age of 6. I did Goldilocks and the Two Bears because only 3 of us tried out. I whispered everyone's lines to them on stage because I was that little kid. Yeah, okay, so I know one of the questions, I'm trying to remember everything, one of the questions that you guys wanted to know about was like a profound moment in my life. So I think one of the biggest moments of my entire life that's happened, like since I've been to college and just in general, kind of a sad story, but luckily like it has a decent ending. So January 31st, 2018, it was the beginning of my 2nd semester of college. My dad had a heart attack unexpectedly and he almost died. It was one of the hardest moments of my life just because I was up in Nebraska, my family was down in Texas, and I mean, he was alive, so it's not like I had to go down there and do anything for a funeral or anything, but so he almost died, but I was stuck up here with people who I'd only known for a few months. And that was really hard. That was a really, really hard time. Luckily, I was able to kind of throw myself like into theater and just throw myself into school and all that sort of stuff, but it was, I mean, I was already homesick as all get out. Yeah, but that was probably one of the hardest moments of my life. Luckily, he's doing a lot better now. It's caused a lot of repercussions, like for my family, as far as having to move and having to do new jobs and all that sort of stuff. But that moment of being in the business college, because I'm a business minor, being in the business college after getting that phone call and just being like, my dad's alive, but he's almost not. Like it was a very, very surreal situation. And there's no like history of that like in my family. Anyway, so that's kind of like more of the sadder, profound moment of my life, where I just realized that life is really precious and life can honestly be very short, which I feel like is something people say a lot after a family member almost dies or someone they're close to almost dies. But it was very much like, okay, my family loves and supports me. I'm lucky to still have them, so let's just be happy. Yes. One of the more not fun necessarily because it's also terrifying, but for different reasons. So last summer, me and my best friend Beck, we a big group of us studied in London, like at Shakespeare's Globe over the summer. And then me and my best friend Beck, we went and traveled through Scotland. And so at one point, we looked it up later, these are apparently very haunted islands. I don't know if you believe in ghosts, I definitely do, because of some experiences in college. But we were on these like these Ness Islands is what they're called. They're up in Inverness in Scotland. And so we were on the islands. We both kind of got these weird vibes, but it was summer, so the sun didn't set until like 11 p.m. So we're kind of walking around, kind of like weird vibes, all this sort of stuff. And then there's like, so there's like 3 islands off of the main island. There's like the main island, which is the land, and then 3 islands in this river sort of thing. And we were on like the last island, I think, and between 2 of the islands, there was one bridge that like had lights on them, but none of the other bridges in the city did. So we were on that 3rd island, and all of a sudden we're like, okay, it's getting kind of dark, it's kind of weird. We went into like this weird, dumb theater kid things. We went into like this like stone circle thing, and I recited like the Macbeth witches, like double boil and trouble. Yeah, probably conjured something up. Super fun. So we were back on that bridge, and we'd been on these bridges like the whole time we were in Scotland. It was so weird. And so it was like this metal bridge. It wasn't loud or anything. We were just like sitting right next to each other. All of a sudden we get halfway across the metal bridge, and you can't hear anything. Like, it's just like nature sounds, like no big deal. We get halfway across the bridge, and boom, 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 footsteps. Like someone was running at us from the island behind us. I froze. Beck grabbed my arm and then just yanked me forward. And so we just went running, and we looked it up, and there actually had been some paranormal activity searches stuff done out on those islands. And there was a woman, we didn't experience this, but like the smell of decay, but she has a strange connection to lights. And that was the one bridge like in the city that we'd been to that had lights on it. So that was a very scary moment. We ran for half a mile. I felt bad. Beck had like a 14-pound backpack on. I was like, we gotta keep going, but he had to stop eventually. It was very scary. Yeah, we had a lot of ghosty experiences, but that was definitely the most unexpected, crazy one. So I looked up the other thing that I need to be in this video is, how would you describe yourself? And so we'll kind of start that with another profound moment. So my senior year of high school, a former teacher of mine who I'm still really close with, she started a grassroots nonprofit called Simon's Promise, and it had to do with bridging the gap between education, like in specifically Tanzania, a southeastern African country, and they have connections there and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so they were working with students in the US and certain schools over there that they had connections to. Anyway, so I got involved, and I was the lead intern with my high school. It was a really, really cool thing. I got to visit Tanzania and all that sort of stuff. But throughout the entire process, this was also when I was deciding where I wanted to go to college and what I wanted to do and just kind of what path I wanted to go down. I knew I wanted to do theater and act, but I realized that I had this other passion for working in nonprofit work and working in theaters and being that administrative side, which is one of the reasons actually Portland Playhouse interests me, because I know a lot of the intern work has to do with administration as well as acting, so I thought that was a really, really cool thing. But I would some ways I would describe myself: an advocate, and then I think this is the right word, like sort of like a philanthropist, where I want to work with people and I want to be there for people and I want to be an advocate and I want to be that person who's doing the work as well as running the work as much as I can sustainably. So I think that's something I would definitely use to describe myself. Friendly. That's one word I get a lot and I like to embody, is like just this friendly, welcoming presence. Whether I try to or not, people are drawn to me. I have that resting nice face, as people call it, so people are often drawn to me. How else would I describe myself? What's the word? Relentless. Yes, that's a good one, but I'm trying to think. Not reckless in the sense of like jumping in head first, like just jumping in without thinking, without doing any of this. Reckless in that sense, but not in the way that I'm like doing drugs and like alcohol and like all those sort of things, but more reckless in the sense that I'm going to throw myself into something no matter what it is. It can be the dumbest thing. Like when I was raising money for Tanzania, I baked 4 dozen cookies every Tuesday for a month to sell them illegally at school, so that way I could raise money for the trip. Like, it was just however I was gonna raise money, that's how I was gonna raise money. So reckless in that sense is definitely a word I would use to describe myself. So the last kind of section of this that I think is important to talk about me, because it's such a huge part of me, is that I did martial arts growing up from like 2nd grade through 8th grade really actively. Tong Sudo is a Korean form of martial arts, so I did that down in Texas for most of my life. And then throughout high school, I did more like self-defense tactics versus the actual like competing and like belts ranking sort of system. Yeah, but I did that a lot, and so people don't expect that looking at me, because they just don't expect a little fighter out of me, but I guess that's another word I would use to describe myself as fighter. And I guess that kind of goes into the reckless part of it too. Like I never got in fights, but if anyone ever tried to mess with me, I definitely knew how to stand up for myself. Yeah, and so then once I got into college and once I started getting more and more into theater and later high school and that sort of stuff, I started being introduced to stage combat, which I really, really fell in love with. The summer after my first year of college, so after my freshman year, I went and worked for a theater in Austin, Texas, and so it was like a high school production, and I was doing a lot of the actual production side of it. So I ended up being the fight captain for that show because I was the only one that had any experience, and these kids were these like 14-year-olds were waving around these crazy wooden swords hitting each other. I'm like, you guys are gonna get hurt. So I had to be the adult in that situation, even though I was only 4 years older. And then last semester, fall 2019, I took stage combat with Ian Borden here at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Yeah, and that was so much fun. I've gotten to do so much stage combat between that and dry land, doing lots of punching. We did Julius Caesar, and I was the fight captain for that, and that's like wars, like that's straight up just fighting. So my martial arts background, between the discipline, the actual, I know how to kick, I know how to punch and do the actual damage, and then unlearning that and learning how to make it look real, I think that played a lot into like my abilities in stage combat. And it's something I love, and it's something I really want to pursue. I don't know exactly what that looks like. Yeah, but that's something I really, really love. And growing up, it definitely made me more disciplined and definitely took all of my chaotic energy that comes out into being an actor and helps me learn how to stay focused as well as stay grounded and know my body very well and know my capabilities. So that is something that I find very important. To wrap this up, I'm not sure exactly how much is on like all of my resumes and that sort of stuff, but I was an intern for the Vortex Theater in Austin, Texas, which I mentioned with like the stage combat. I was like props designer and all that sort of stuff. Last summer, I was an intern for Saratoga Shakespeare Company with their young theater professional company. We worked so hard doing that. We were in an intern show, we were working on their main stage shows, we were doing 12-hour days just doing manual labor. So that definitely taught me a lot about all sides of outdoor theater as well as like Shakespeare and that sort of stuff. I'm a certified actor combatant, which had to do with the class I took last semester. I was generic pass in unarmed and single sword, and me and my partner both got recommended in broadsword. So that was a lot of fun. The one thing really cool about UNL, where I go to school, is we have the Nebraska Repertory Theater. The only equity theater in Nebraska is part of our university. So I've gotten to act with 3 shows, 2 of those being EMC earning shows. So I already have my EMC card, which has been really, really cool. It's one of the reasons I chose to come here. I've worked with theatrics. I'm the production manager of our student-run theater company, as well as I've acted in that student-run theater company. We do university theater here occasionally, and so I got to work Julius Caesar with my professor and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I'm Cami Cooper, and I approve this message.